Everybody, 15 after the hour, and time for us to go behind the headlines and take a look at the high cost of opening a marijuana dispensary. The Boston Globe recently reported that they had 181 applicants for the Commonwealth's 35 potential medical marijuana dispensaries. A lot of competition going on there, and there can be no more than 5 dispensaries in any one of the 7 counties in Massachusetts. So of those applications, only 22 of them were rejected, and one guy withdrew his application. So out of the remaining 158 applications, they needed to be able to show liquid assets in excess of $500,000. You had to be able to prove in your application that you were sitting on at least $500,000 worth of liquid assets just to be able to be in the running for opening a dispensary. So out of those 158 that could prove they had $500,000 in the bank, they now get to submit a $30,000 non-refundable application fee. And only, of course, like I said, 35 of them will be accepted. So there's something like 123 that are going to turn in $30,000 and just lose it. That's going to bring in $4.7 million to the state of Massachusetts. And Massachusetts isn't the only one that's raking in the bucks trying to license the new dispensary operations. In Arizona, they got to prove they have $150,000 in startup capital, and then there's a $5,000 non-refundable application fee. So far in Arizona, there's 126 dispensary operators who applied, so that's $630,000 to the state of Arizona. Nevada finally got around to passing a dispensary law. They require proof of $250,000 in liquid assets before you can apply. And if you got the $250,000 in the bank, you then drop another $5,000 in a non-refundable application fee. And then if you're approved through the application fee, it costs you $30,000 a year for your license. I'm sorry, $30,000 a year for the first license. I think it's $20,000 every year after that. And by law, there can be up to 60 dispensaries in Nevada, so that's another $2.1 million for the state. As we look through the 20 medical marijuana states, there are 15 of them that have or will have operating dispensaries. And many of them have these same non-refundable application fees on top of their annual licensing fees. Washington, D.C., $5,000 to apply, $10,000 for the license. New Jersey, $2,000 to apply, $20,000 for the license. Vermont, $2,500 to apply, $30,000 for the license. And if you thought this was just going to be applied to the sellers of the marijuana, no, they've also got some fees for growers, or as they're called in some states, producers of marijuana. In Colorado, a cultivator has to pay a $1,200 application fee and $2,750 for the annual license. In Nevada, it's going to cost you $3,000 to be a producer. In New Mexico, it costs you $1,000 to apply and $30,000 for your license. And in Connecticut, $25,000 fee just to apply to be a grower and $75,000 a year to maintain that license. So, with these massive upfront costs, it's no wonder that dispensary marijuana ends up costing the same or more than black market marijuana. When I was down in Arizona, I remember talking to the patients there, telling me it was $60, $70 a gram for oil. It was, $30 a gram for medicine, eighths that were, or ounces that were costing, $500. Right next door to California. It just makes no sense. And this kind of over fees, over scheduling, too much being involved here in the fees and the taxes is going to bite these regulators in the ass as marijuana becomes more and more available. And I wonder if they set it up as a way of ensuring that the black market does survive at some level. You got to wonder. And if you thought that, well, these dispensary fees is too much, I'll just grow my own. Well, you don't get that. In those 15 states that are going to have dispensaries running through next year, half of them, 8, don't give you the option of growing your own marijuana at home. That would be Arizona, Connecticut, D.C., Delaware, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and New Jersey. No home grow allowed. Well, Arizona allows home grow if you're 25 miles or further away from a dispensary. That only applies to 4.8% of the population. Pretty much only Tuba City, Arizona, about the only place that you can grow. And Massachusetts only allows home grows on a case-by-case hardship basis. Sounds like a racket, Ryan.
Yeah, well, I've always, maintained the thought that they need to keep marijuana illegal so they can keep a certain amount of money out, of sight.
Yeah, gotta have that black ops money.
Yep.
All right, well, we'll rant about that someday in the future, I'm sure. Maybe we'll talk about that in Hour 2, Toker Talk Radio. And if you're a big fan of our Irie Wednesday, it's coming up next. We got some Irie Wednesday music, and then